Do you love it here? I assume you do.
I absolutely love it. I love it. I have enjoyed every moment of it. The beaches are amazing. It's probably the one point that stands out for me is the beaches, the safety. When I just came over, I worked as a bartender, just behind the bar, just polishing the glasses. And 2 o'clock in the morning, that's the time I finished because I had to clean up the bar afterwards when everyone left. And I cycled back home, and I think my parents thought, what in the world is this girl doing? A whole different culture. You have to experience it.
I'm Dr. Chamonix Du Plooy, ex-corporate and academia girl, turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created Chamonix TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids hearing down under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Bianca. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the same city that I'm in today, pretty Perth. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you, Chamonix?
I am very well, thank you.
That's
now,
cool.
You have been in Australia for how long?
Last week, as of last week, 4 years. Yes.
So you can almost apply for citizenship. That's
I can almost. Crossing fingers for the best.
That's usually what I think of when somebody say 4 years, because as you will know, you have to be in Australia for at least 4 years before you can apply for citizenship. So even if you come with permanent residency, you cannot apply unless you've been here physically for 4 years. But that said, if you've been in Australia for 4 years on another kind of visa, and then you get your citizenship, shortly after you receive permanent residency, that's fine, because as long as you've been in Australia for 4 years and have permanent residency together. So those are the 2 things that need to go hand in hand.
Beautiful.
So you're here on a student visa, or you came in on a student visa, is that right?
Yes, so 4 years ago, I came on a student visa in February the 16th and started studying psychology. So I came out on a study 500, subclass 500 student visa, and then studied for 3 years, and then I had to change my visa.
Now, why did you have to change your visa?
So I did my degree in psychology, and then unfortunately I didn't make it through to the next round for the 4th year, the degree. And because I moved from my degree to my diploma, unbeknownst to me, I had to change my visa because it's no longer a degree. You're moving downwards, basically. And I started studying human resource management. So I started applying for that, started studying, and then I thought, I should probably let the government know, that I'm doing something else. Notified them, and they're like, no, you should have been applying for another visa. Oh, goodness. I didn't know. No one tells you.
Yes.
So anyway, got my bridging visa for the time being until I accepted the other one, and then, yes, ever since then, I've actually been able to start working full time, because on the study visa, you're only allowed to do 20 hours a week or 40 a fortnight. And that was very limiting to me in terms of trying to make a little extra buck on the side, etc. And then ever since that, I got big opportunities, and it's been great.
So you came on a student visa. You were on it for the first one for 3 years, and then you got a new student visa. Are you still on that same visa now?
Yes. So the second one is called a temporary graduate visa. It allows me to either study and work, or to work, get experience in what I've studied before. So during that year, I did my human resource management and started working a bit. So I did some little bits and pieces here and there, but that was also during COVID. So it was very, very, very hard to try and get something. So my friend just got me into doing some childcare work. And then in November last year, someone asked me if I would be interested in another gig, and thought, why not? Let's do it.
That's awesome. So that's a full-time job, and that's what are your hours and what do you do?
I work from 8 to 5, poor me. And every day, Monday to Friday, I work for a recruitment agency. So I recruit for everyone around Australia to come and work here in WA.
That's awesome. Is it in a specific industry, or is it all across all industries?
Well, I'm in the blue collar section of the team. I do blast hole drilling, field assistant, shot firers, but in my team, we've got everyone doing the mining section. So anyone in the mining industry, really. We just pass them on to the friends.
Good. Yeah. Well, so tell us about the needs for blue-collared workers at this stage. Do you guys still have lots of work going?
Huge amount of work going on at the moment. We find that there's a lot more work than there is people available to work at the moment. So it's been very hard to find people and to place them everywhere. Yeah.
And you're allowed to recruit internationally at the moment, are you?
At the moment, that's a bit hard. We would tend to say for people to come over and settle in. And then as soon as you settle in, hit me up and I can help you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult with COVID.
Study visa, that's a different story because you're only allowed 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
They can say no, because then they'll have to get multiple other people into, obviously, that they have to get in, and it's going to cost them extra. So they'd rather not, unfortunately, for poor students.
So with your temporary graduate visa, how long are you allowed to stay in Australia for? And then what's your sort of, what can you do from there on? Can you stay forever, or do you have to leave?
Well, it's until next year, May, I think. So 2022 May, that I'm allowed to stay on that visa. So that was about 3 years that I had that one. 2.5, 3 years, around about that time. And then I want to apply for permanent residency, or citizenship, but it'll be permanent residency first. So get an independent skills visa, or we'll see what the way is to go. I'm still a little bit unsure of how I'm going to do that, but my plan is this year to get into it and have a look to see what to do.
But you're allowed it's 4 years on the visa, essentially, or 3 years in total.
It depends. It was very strange because when I applied for it, it said 3 or 4 years, and I assumed I would get the 4 years. Don't know why I assumed it, but I only got the 3 years, which is fine. I mean, that still gives me a lot of time to play around and apply for my independent visa.
So you can then work for any employer as many hours as you like, and or you can study as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's pretty much like just being in Australia like a normal Australian.
Exactly. I am loving it.
So tell us a little bit about what do you love in Australia? Why did you come to Australia to study here?
Well, essentially, mum and dad, I started studying in Pretoria at Takis University. I went there for a year, and it was a little bit of a mess up because they were starting to riot for free education. I don't know if you guys remember what happened a couple of years ago, 4 years ago. It was just a big mess. And most of the time I was at home, unfortunately. Half of the time my parents stayed in Nelspruit. I moved back and forth, and my parents was like, no, like there's no point in you moving around the whole time and then being unsafe on campus, because obviously the rioting just threw us around a bit. And my parents were like, no, I'd rather pay for you to know that you're going to get a good education and potentially stay over there and make a better life for you as a woman. So yeah, did that and came over very, very nervous, moving over without my parents, just coming here by myself.
And you were 19, I assume?
Yes, around about 1920. And came over, lived with my mum and my dad's friends for a little bit, about actually 2 years, 3 years. And because they live in Joondalup area and I studied in Murdoch, and it just
that's far away.
Too long to travel. It took me at least an hour to get to uni and an hour to get back home. I was like, no, it's not gonna work. Moved in with 2 of my friends who live close to Murdoch, and yeah, ever since it's been great.
And why do you love Australia? Do you love it here? I assume you do.
I absolutely love it. I love it. I have enjoyed every moment of it. The beaches are amazing. It's probably like one point that stands out for me is the beaches, the safety. When I just came over, I worked as a bartender, just behind the bar, just polishing the glasses. And 2 o'clock in the morning, that's the time I finished because I had to clean up the bar afterwards when everyone left. And I cycled back home. And I think my parents thought, what in the world is this girl doing? But over here, like, it's so safe. It's just so surreal how amazing it is to be able to walk around without fearing for your life.
It is. It's like living in a dream for South Africans, because it's, well, for Australians, it's just that's what it is. It's what life is supposed to be like, you know. But for South Africans, they just, I don't think they can fathom that kind of freedom that you experience when you can, as a 20-year-old, cycle alone at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy. Even for me, I was like a little bit unsure and still very wary and scary, but nothing ever happened. It was pretty safe. Had no dramas.
So when you moved over here, the first few months, how did you settle in? Okay, you told us that you were living with some of your parents' friends in their house.
Yeah.
But in terms of friends and, you know, finding your feet, how did that process go for you?
That's actually a funny question, because when my first day at uni that I started, I was very nervous. This little South African girl coming overseas, going to uni, don't know anybody, just sat down all by myself. I was like, oh, I don't know who to sit next to. It was just too nerve-wracking for me. And then up came this little girl. She came and sat right next to me, and she's like, hi, how you doing? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm from South Africa. And she's like, oh my goodness, I am too.
Oh, wow.
That was so special. And yeah, ever since we've been good friends. The people that I live with, they introduced me to a couple of friends whom I'm now best friends with, and I date one of them.
That worked out handy.
Yes, very handy, yes. Yeah, it's been really good. It's easy to make friends, and there's lots of communities out there you can reach out to, similar like South Africans. Even at uni, we had a little South African club where everyone can just meet up, get together, and yeah, get to know each other.
How did you find the difference between university in South Africa and being at university in Australia, or was it very similar to you?
No, it was a lot harder, because before I used to just speak Afrikaans and work in Afrikaans, and then coming over here, that's obviously not very possible for me. So I had to learn how to write properly in English. Well, even though I did know English before, but it's just a whole different ball game here, the layouts and how to word things properly, very scientific based, and learning to read journals properly and report on that, and never used to do that stuff in South Africa. So I've learned a lot about writing and communicating, and it's just been such an amazing learning opportunity that I've been given by my parents. It's just amazing.
And how are your parents feeling with having their little girl so far away from them?
Shame, poor mom. I think dad is okay about it. He just loves the fact that he's given me this amazing opportunity to go and just live my own life and have an amazing life. Mum, she's also extremely happy, of course, but I think it's taken mum the hardest because it's her first little baby, moved overseas, and it's hard now with COVID. Like I used to go at least once a year. That hasn't been possible for the last 2 years to go. Probably won't be able to go this year. But yeah, in the start, mum never really wanted to video call because she was just too sad about it. But eventually we started getting into it. We're doing video calls every week. It's a lot easier now. And yeah, hard on them, but we know that it is for the best and they know that it is for the best.
So they're happy if you were to decide to stay in Australia long term?
Oh, definitely. That's what our goal is. That's our ultimate goal.
And what do you miss about South Africa, apart from friends and family, because that's what most people say, but also you've had an opportunity to settle into the Australian culture now, and it's always very different if you come into either the schooling system or the university system as opposed to just coming in as a worker, because through that avenue you tend to make a lot of friends, which is great. It's harder if you come as just a worker because it's not that kind of friend. So how do you feel being here? Are you settled in enough?
Definitely. I think meeting someone special has been very easy on me as well. It's been very nice to have a little bit of a support system. My mum's friends and my mum and dad's friends, they were very supportive as well, which is very helpful. And then meeting friends who also, everyone's been very supportive, which is great. This whole Australian culture, like, just taking this newbie in and just loving her. It's been a really good experience. In terms of what I miss about South Africa, that's a hard one. I've been exposed to amazing beaches here, so it's hard to say if there's anything. I don't really miss anything in South Africa for me. I just miss my parents and my family and my little brother.
Oh, sweet. How old is he?
He turned 18 in December, so he's not so little anymore, but he's still little in my eyes.
Of course he would be. So is he going to come join you as a student?
We are crossing fingers.
Because you've done all the hard work for the family now. You know exactly what you're in for. He can just come in and walk into a circle of friends and everything is sorted.
Exactly. We're trying to see, because he's finishing his year 12 this year, and hopefully he can come around the start of next year, crossing fingers with this COVID dramas going on. For him to come around, and then yes, I will take care of him as my little baby.
So sweet.
Show him the way and help him out. I obviously know a lot more than I did when I came over at the start, so it'll be good for him to come around and I can just help him out. I know what it's like. It's hard.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Did you consider going to any other countries before you chose Australia?
Not really. Because my parents didn't want me to be alone. We don't have any families overseas other than in Australia. So mum and dad said, we've got friends in Perth. They're the closest to South Africa. Let's see and put you over there. And yeah, ever since, that's been amazing. Can't wish it otherwise. Yeah.
So our viewers watching here, wishing they could come to Australia, what would be your best advice to them?
To live every moment when you're here. And yes, it is hard, but to just enjoy every moment and sink deep into your studies. That's what I did to just get over the sadness and the hardship of it, but sink deep into it, make the most of it, go to the beaches, make friends, and go out partying. It's a good experience. A whole different culture. You have to experience it. And yes, take in everything that Australia has to offer. Go to the parks. That's been pretty cool. Going to the park, having a braai at the park. How weird is that? That was something that was just shook my brain. Go to all the little different places that Perth has to offer. There's so many events and things that I never experienced before that I get to experience on a weekly basis now. It's been so good.
Would you do it all over again if you had to?
That's a hard one. It was pretty hard at first, but it's been a good experience. So definitely, yes, if I had the opportunity to maybe go to another place, to maybe Europe or wherever, another just good cultural experience, getting to know different types of people and different ways of living, it's just amazing.
So no plans for you on going back to South Africa if you don't have to?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Sorry, Mum and Dad.
But Mum and Dad can always come and visit you.
Yes, exactly. I actually had them over in the start of February last year, just before COVID smacked. They came around to come and see what it's like, to come and experience what I've experienced for the last 4 years. And they had an absolute ball. It was weird for them because they experienced the trains. In South Africa, there's no, obviously, other than the Gautrain train, but over here, this is our public transport. This is the way we get around. And they were like, it's amazing. We can't imagine it. And we left, like, went out to Fremantle and just stayed around till 1. And after 1, we went home and traveled all the way back on the trains. And they're like, wow, 1 o'clock in the morning and you're safe. It's just brilliant.
Just another question I had in terms of your visa when you applied initially, did you do it yourself or did you use a migration agent?
I actually did it myself. No help from my parents whatsoever. I did it all, and it was pretty straightforward, literally just to lodge it and enter every document that you need, which is full on, but it was good. Yeah.
So to give us an idea of the process, is that you decide which university or college you want to go to, then you apply to them directly, yeah?
Yes. So I looked online to see what universities there is in WA, and then I asked my mum and my dad's friends which universities they would think would be suitable for me studying teaching, and I ended up applying to ECU and to Murdoch. And then eventually when I got accepted, it wasn't too long actually. They came back with me in a week. It's amazing, yeah. Nothing takes, it takes very easily. I applied for, I think I had to apply for uni first. I had to show that I was confirmed that they accepted me, and then I could apply for a visa to show why I'm coming to Australia. And that took about 3 or 4 weeks. And yeah, from there it was just bang, bang, bang.
So you'd say it's very doable for other people themselves. Yeah. And then obviously for the second visa, you did that yourself too here in Australia?
I had to go and ask for advice. So I had to go and see an immigration agent just because I was very unsure as to why I had to apply for another visa, because they never told me that when you're applying for a degree, you can't move downwards. Not that it was downwards, but it was seen as going backwards, and I didn't know that. So I went to go and see someone else to ask for advice. What would it be like for me for the next few years? What should I do? Which visa to apply for? And then he told me what to apply for, and I did it by myself again. Yeah.
So wow, you came to Australia, first visa yourself, second one a little bit of advice, but you still did it yourself.
Yeah.
And here you are, strong on your way to hopefully very soon get permanent residency. What a beautiful story.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy for you. I know, Bianca, you've just been really incredible in how you've managed this whole landscape in the middle of COVID as well. But being here alone and never having lived in another country by yourself, it takes a lot of courage. So well done on you.
A good experience to teach you how to grow up very quickly.
But it's good because that skill set is going to help you for the rest of your life. And look at this awesome place that you're in it now.
I know, I'm very blessed, very extremely blessed for what I've gotten.
And I know you a little bit better. I've gotten to know you before this interview, and I really enjoy how bubbly you are. And you're just one of those outgoing, friendly people who it's, almost contagious to watch you, how you're always happy and other people just want to be happy around you. So that's a beautiful thing that you have. So please keep shining your light. And Australia would be blessed to have you on a long term. Thanks for talking to us, Bianca.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
It's been absolutely lovely. So please let us know how you go with your future visas. We'd love
for
to.
sure, definitely.
We'd love to hear once you apply for your permanent resident visa. We want to talk to you again.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Happy to do so.
Thanks so much. Enjoy your day, Bianca.
You too, Chamonix. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.